Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing alright today. It's finished Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. Was there any point playing that match, honestly? It would have been nice if the lads just shook hands before the game and just called it a day before we even kicked the ball. If that was what was going to happen. Because, man, I mean, look, there's some things that went down. That was, I'd say, expected, right? Was this performance better than the Aston Villa game? Yes, right? To an extent. Do I expect miracles from Bruno? No. Do I think Chelsea should have got a result today? Absolutely. But it's the same problem. You have to say, there's two things to this game that has to be mentioned. Tactically, there wasn't really much going on, and it's expected. Bruno Sauter isn't exactly prime Pep Guardiola. I'm not expecting world-class tactics from him. I think in terms of his capabilities and what he can do, I think he done all right. That's it. I can't look at Bruno and go, no, Bruno, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. I can't. He's not got the facilities. He's not a manager. So there's that. But my goodness. How many shots did we have today? We had... actually, we didn't... Yeah, we didn't have that much. I thought we had more. We've had 12 shots. 12 shots, 7 of them were off target. Only 3 were on target. But the amount of times we can't put a ball in the net is just... It's criminal, man. It's criminal. At this point, it's actually scary. I'm beginning to think we might have been cursed by someone. But look, overall... can I say, the boys gave everything. So I just end the review there. It's bland, really. It's bland. As I've said, it could have been worse, but it could have been better. In the space of 12, 15 minutes, we could have been 3-0 up, right? But we weren't. And that's a fundamental problem, regardless of manager. That's a fundamental problem that needs to change. As I've said, tactically, there wasn't much to it. I think we set up in the 3-5-2, which was different. And I think to an extent, it worked for only a certain amount of time at the very beginning because of the midfield. I think when you look at Enzo and you look at Kovacic and you look at N'Golo Kante, can we just take a moment to talk about N'Golo Kante? N'Golo Kante, he deserves a standing ovation. N'Golo Kante was phenomenal in every essence of the word. Why? Because for the circumstances that he made his first start since August, right? He was fasting. He'd just come back from injury. He starts. And that was something different that I would say compared to what Graham Potter would definitely have done. Kante wouldn't have started. And I think we all had it in our heads, right? That because when a player comes back from injury, you got to manage the minutes. And I think that's Graham Potter's done that very, very, very deliberately, right? Managed minutes of any player that's been injured and then increased it from game to game slowly but surely, right? Today showed that you can start the player. Kante started, played brilliant, looked quick, looked dynamic, looked fast, looked fluid, looked all sorts, right? Looked strong. And then he came off in the 68th minute, which we'll come to, right? Because that's where I started to get a little bit worried. Some of you may know where I'm going with that. But N'Golo Kante was just class, right? So was Enzo. Kovacic had a great game, except for the chances missed. Except for what he missed. He should not have missed. But again, it's not just him. No one can shoot in this Chelsea team. It is what it is. But the midfield, in that 3-5-2, having the 3, looked good. The problem was the 2 up top, right? I think one additional man up top could have maybe stretched Liverpool's defence a little bit, might have created opportunities with the half chances that we had got, maybe becoming full chances. If we had one extra man, maybe when the ball does come across the box, instead of just Kai Havertz trying to go in on his own, where even sometimes he was half an hour late to go into where he should have been, maybe someone on the back post could have been there if we had an extra man up top alongside the 2. It's that where I think Chelsea maybe could have capitalised even further on chances that maybe didn't even show up. Maybe there were half chances, or the ones that we just did flat out miss. So that's where I look at the 3-5-2, and I think maybe if we had gone to a 3 up top after, because even if it meant going to a back 4 and going to a 4-3-3, keep the 3, right, and then go with 3 up top, I think honestly we might have done something, because Liverpool were poor today. And this is where I'm looking at this result, and I'm honestly just thinking, nah, man, I'm not satisfied with this. This isn't good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not happy. There's no way this game should have finished 0-0. But it did. You know? It's like when Kai Havertz scored the handball goal. You know? Oh, don't be angry at that. The XG for that goal wasn't quite high. You know? It's just... But the truth is, look, it's not a goal. That's the reality. We drew 0-0 today. That's the reality. I'm not happy. This Liverpool team were here for the taking. But this is where, as I've said, you understand the circumstances, because, look, we got Bruno in charge, who's not a manager. Today, put out the basics. And I feel like that's all we can do. That's all we can possibly do. So I'm not going to ask for miracles from him. It probably emphasises the point that we do need to hire someone fast. And at the same time, this problem about shooting and finishing, man, we can't be this bad at finishing. You know, look, this Chelsea team have some top players in there, right? We are meant to be operating at like an elite Premier League club. But even if we're not elite, yeah, at least for this season, because we're 11th. Actually, what's the table saying? Are we still 11th? Yeah, we're still 11th. We're still 11th, and Fulham have a game in hand on us, and so do Brentford. So it looks like we're staying in 11th for quite some time now. Bloody hell, that's not good, is it? But I look at these players, and even just as a Premier League team, how are we not finishing some of the chances that we get? We can't be that bad. We can't be that bad at finishing. But we are. What we are. This is it, but we are. It's absolutely shocking. So, look, overall, I'm underwhelmed. Right? I'm underwhelmed because we really should be walking out of today with 3 points. We really, really should have. Albeit, the performance in itself, there were some good individual performances, as I've already mentioned. Overall, you could see there was a little bit more urgency. You could see that the press and the counter press were there. The players were quite aggressive when trying to win the ball back from Liverpool, which was good to see. You could see the link-ups. You could see some of the passes and some of the moves were quite fast and quite intense compared to what we've been seeing in previous games. This is where I was saying that I reckon there's going to be a little lift. We're going to see some players that are going to be operating on relief. You know, that ability to breathe a little bit now. You know, a little less pressure. And I think that showed, especially in the first half. But, yeah, tactically, we didn't really operate much. And as I've said, finishing, we just couldn't finish. So, that's it. But in terms of individual performances, there are some performances that we absolutely have to discuss. We started with the 3-5-2, Kepa. Fofana, Koulibaly, Cucurella. That is where I think a lot of people had a problem because Badiashile has just been dropped to the bench now. I remember saying, look, we're going to have to be rotating between the two because Cucurella is going to be playing the Champions League games. Badiashile is not in the Champions League squad. So it's only wise that we use Badiashile in games that are coming close to the Champions League game so we can protect Cucurella just in case. Badiashile, even after Cucurella playing in that game where, you know, he blew it, let's face it, against Villa, and the games prior, he's been selected, Badiashile you'd think would walk into the team for today. And he didn't. So that was a little bit like, what? But we started with a back three. And it was Cucurella at left centre-back, right? And it was Chilwell at left wing-back. And it was Reece James at right wing-back, which was the first thing that I would have changed compared to what Potter done in the last game. Because that was criminal, right? So, fair play to that, at least. Then we had Kante, Enzo and Kovacic in the midfield. And we had the two up top of Kai Havertz and Felix, which, wasn't quite potent enough. That's where later on, even though the back three, you could say, is what we know, it's the best way to start the game, absolutely. But you could see, moving forward into the game, the amount of control that we did have when we had the ball. The lack of authority that Liverpool had on the ball. They actually had more possession. Funnily enough, at least up until minute 80, I think they had more possession than us. But we were the ones with the chances. We were the ones that were posing threats. It wasn't Liverpool. Liverpool looked blank. Liverpool were dead today, right? So that's where mid-game, I would not have minded going to a 4. If it meant take off Cucurella, bring Chilwell into left back, bring on either Sterling or Mudryk, possibly Sterling, not Mudryk. That's risky business. Sterling to occupy with the front three, with Havertz and Felix, and then I think maybe we would have been open to open up something and possibly score. In order to take that risk, to add one additional attacker to maybe open Liverpool up, and we might have scored that way. So there was that. But when we get into the latter stages of the game, and it's funny because Liverpool make some subs. They get Salah on, they get Robertson on, they start to really amp up a little bit. And then minute 68, Kante comes off, which is understandable, I guess, right? I guess he has to. He has to come off. But we bring on Gallagher. And this is where I'm like, okay, all right. So, Bruno is basically a bald Graham Potter, right? This is what we're doing. Graham Potter is still in charge. This is what we meant by, cooperating in a smooth transition or something like that was the statement, wasn't it? Basically, Potter's still in charge. Is that what's going on? Gallagher comes on. And to be fair, Gallagher came on and he was present, I guess, physically, but that was about it. And then we brought on Mudryk for Chilwell, which is then doing what I'd said that we maybe should have done a little earlier, but I wouldn't have taken off Chilwell. I would have taken off Cucurella. For Mudryk to go out wide, for Chilwell to go to left back. Although it did come out afterwards that apparently Mudryk went into wing back. So that tells you everything you need to know. If we're going to Mudryk at wing back, then that's a little bit concerning. But anyway, and then we had Felix come off for Sterling. That's probably like for like. So yeah, there wasn't much coming from the bench to be able to really change the game tactically, I don't feel, and I don't expect it to really, but there were opportunities for this game to be dead and buried, and we didn't take them because at Chelsea Football Club, we can't finish our dinner. So there we are, and then it finishes 0-0, which is disappointing, and it's not what I expected, it's not what I thought. I'd say we'd win 3-1. And to be honest, in the first half, it looked like we were getting there. We could have been 3-0 up after 15 minutes, but we weren't. And this is just the story of Chelsea Football Club. And just end the season. End the season. Look, at this point, we're just going to have to end it. We're probably going to finish 11th, right? I suspect we'll win a couple of games to end the season. I still think we'll probably finish 11th or 10th. I don't see us going any higher. Don't expect too much. We'll see what happens against Real Madrid. I do think that there's going to be a spirit. The crowd today were definitely behind the team. I think the team, as I've said, moved a little bit more positively in terms of their actions, their intensity, their closing down. The attitude overall from everyone looked good. But that was it. So, can't expect too much, I guess. It is what it is. Let me know what you thought down below. Much appreciated. But, yeah, I'm disappointed because this Liverpool team were poor. They were poor, man. They were poor. And you can see they're fundamentally broken as well. Not as broken as us, but at least I think our fix might be quicker than theirs. We'll get a top manager in and we'll be able to sort things out, I reckon, pretty quickly. Them lot, they've got an entire brand new transition that they're going to have to go for, a complete new rebuild. And I don't know how that's going to take them. But they were there for the taking and we didn't take them. It's as simple as that. So let me know what you thought down below. Man, as I've said, end the season. I'm tired. I'm tired. Let me know down below. Much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you've somewhat enjoyed this. And I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video as we gear up now to the weekend, where I believe we've got Wolves away, and then we've got Real Madrid next week, midweek. So it's going to get tasty. I'll see all of you tomorrow for a brand new one. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in a little bit, guys. Take care and peace.